We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
And as always, a big shout out to Mark Ramos for making that Fired Up podcast promo. Welcome back, everybody, to the Beer Battered Sports Podcast, the podcast where the podcast created by sports fans for sports fans, because we believe we are the most qualified people to talk about your favorite teams. I can't believe I almost messed up the intro. We've done 91 episodes and I almost messed up the intro. I'm your co-host, Isaac.
And I'm 40.
And Noam will be with us in just a bit. We're waiting for him to hop on, but to anybody everyone who celebrates, we hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving listening in. Welcome back to the show, episode 91. Not episode 90, like I titled it for about 3 hours this morning before realizing my mistake. So hopefully that's the only issue we have. But yeah, welcome to episode 91. We've got plenty to talk about in the sports world, primarily focusing on football as always. Also going to talk a little bit about basketball to begin. Had some goings on in the basketball world. Some of them we're going to kind of skirt over because a couple topics I don't know if we should really go into great detail about. If you haven't figured out by now, I'm referring to a certain OKC Thunder player who's under investigation for doing some things that we're not going to get into. But should probably mention that. But before anything else, you have a good Thanksgiving, my man, 40.
I did have a good Thanksgiving. Spent it with the family. Milani was the life of the party, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was a great time. Can't complain at all. How about you?
It was good. I was a little disappointed with the Thanksgiving Day games, but, hey,
Yeah.
It happens. With that being said, let's start by talking about the NBA, which has been having a fun time so far. They just wrapped up group play for the in-season tournament, so we'll take a look at which teams are advancing.
Still a little confused on that whole format and how it works and stuff, because I saw a clip last night on Twitter, and the Celtics were intentionally fouling Andre Drummond with 7 minutes left in the game. And it was because the coach said they had to win by 27 points to advance. And I don't understand the point system and all that stuff. Like, why can't they just win the game to advance?
They had to make it overly complicated so that they could differentiate it from the regular playoffs is my best guess as to why they did that. You are right. It is complicated. It's kind of like the same system that association football uses in big tournaments like the Champions League or the MLS playoffs, where they will where it's total goals scored over a 2-game series. But I don't really think that really belongs in basketball. But hey, as long as the tournament so far has gone smoothly from what I can see, advancing into the second round, the knockout stage, we have the Pacers from Group A, the Bucks and Knicks from Group B, and the Celtics from Group C in the East. And in the West, we have the Lakers from Group A, win a perfect 4-0. The Pelicans from Group B, the Kings from Group C, and Phoenix is the wild card team. With that being said, I do really want to say one thing about the Lakers real quick. Thank God the Lakers are doing something right because, oh boy, in the actual games that matter, the Lakers had an interesting little game against the Sixers. You want to comment on that, 40? I know you're the LeBron fan here. What happened with the Lakers there against the Sixers?
Just pure domination by the Sixers. Both their stars went off. I think Embiid had 35. Maxey had like 20 something. Just running faster, getting out in transition better, turnovers. Lakers just didn't come to play basketball that night. And I think there was a point in time where the Sixers went on like a 22-6 run or something like that. So it just wasn't a good basketball night for the Lakers. And then, you got LeBron only scored 18 points in that game. I think Anthony Davis only scored like 20 or something like that. So, when your two stars aren't playing good and matching their star power, as well as your role players aren't playing like their bench players, then there's nothing really you can do. I mean, but at this time, I can't really say I'm disappointed in the Lakers. I think they're 10-8 right now.
They are, they're 10-8.
Yeah, 10-8 right now. They should pick up a W tonight. I think they play Detroit.
Oh
if
yeah,
I'm not mistaken. So that should push them to 11-8. The West is the West. Every year, it's tight in the West. So I think they'll have a chance to, sneak in to be a 4 through 7 seed.
the rest trending right now.
Yeah.
I will say the biggest surprise this year for me, the West, as always, like you said, it is the West. It's always going to be dominant. But I think the big surprise has been that the established powers are finally starting to slide out of contention. Golden State is having an iffy year. The Clippers are nowhere near as competitive as we thought they were. San Antonio sucks, which that's such a shame because I was so excited for them. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves are the best team, not just in the West, but arguably the best team in basketball right now, which makes it makes about as much sense as what Josh Giddey did. I guess that's the best the best way to say it.
Well,
I don't know what they got going on in Minnesota, but I'm glad to see them doing
I'm actually going to comment on both things, and I'm not going to comment too much on the Josh Giddey thing.
Yeah,
but
I wasn't either.
I did hear some I did read some articles and hear some things in news outlets and stuff saying that he actually met that girl in a club or a bar or something. So supposedly she had a fake ID. She lied to him about his name. I mean, she lied to him about her age. Supposedly the Thunder have already known this situation for a year.
Oh, so I didn't realize it was going on that long.
Yeah, well, so it just broke. The news just broke, but supposedly this all happened a year ago. He hasn't talked to the girl in a year, and that's why he hasn't been suspended and he's still playing and stuff like that, because the organization had already known about the situation for a year. So I guess when he found out her real age, he had immediately went and, told the organization and stuff like that. But, like I said, I'm not going to comment too much on that, just saying on what I heard.
It's one of those sensitive situations where it's like you really want to comment on it, because for a lot of sports podcasts that would get you instant clicks. Oh, Josh Giddey did what? Shocked YouTube thumbnail face. But at the same time, it's a sensitive situation.
Right.
I think the best thing to say about it right now is that they're investigating right now. That's all I'm going to say. I'll after the investigation is done, I'll let them go with that. And I know there's probably somebody would probably go back through every episode here and try and find some time where me, Kylie, or you had, brought up an ongoing investigation and given our full thoughts on this. Like, you hypocrites. And it's like, we probably have. I know I've said some stuff about Deshaun Watson before that, but there's a difference. But yeah, it's this situation, I think, as Noam joins the show. What's going on?
Hello.
What's going on, Noam?
Hey, man.
But, as far as the Timberwolves, though, this is what we expected out of the Timberwolves last year. You have two dominant bigs in Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. I mean, Gobert's not really a scorer. He's more of like a Dennis Rodman type of guy. He's scrappy on defense, and he can get you a lot of rebounds.
Yeah.
So when you have a guy like that, and then you do have the other big guy, Karl Anthony Towns, that can score, play defense, and get rebounds, as well as Anthony Edwards, I mean, the kid's been a star since he was a kid, honestly. Like, if you hear him talking in interviews and stuff like that, you just know he was destined to be a superstar. And I think he's getting into his prime right now. He's been very excellent this year. I think he's averaging 26 points a game right now. He only had 21 last night, but that was going into the fourth quarter. He messed up his ankle or something. So he sat out the rest of the fourth quarter. He probably would have ended that game with 35, maybe 40 points. But yeah, the Timberwolves as a whole, even their bench has looked very good coming off the bench. Like Nas Reed, they got they got a couple bigs that are doing a lot of great jobs, and I think that's what's helping them be so dominant, is that they have so many bigs that can help them defensively and grab rebounds, so their opponents aren't scoring as many points as you usually see people scoring against the Timberwolves.
I just wish I could see them more on national TV, because I've noticed that the Timberwolves are getting no attention. They're not being put up on the big games of the week or being shown on TNT or ESPN. And I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't been paying so much attention. Why opening the standings this week was like, what? The Timberwolves? They're good? What? They have the second best record in the NBA? What? That being said, though, I will say one last thing on basketball. I will notice that the teams that are succeeding in the in-season tournament, they are the established powers. We're seeing more and more teams that we haven't really expected starting to come alive this season in the actual standings. Teams like Indianapolis, teams like Orlando, who's doing really good. Hey, I'm telling you guys, Paolo Banchero balling out. He's helping my fantasy team too. Minnesota, Dallas, OKC, and Houston, which that latter one really annoys me, because I think I ranted on the show last year about how I hated how Houston was full of, highlight hoopers and didn't have any team basketball. And apparently they're proving that they're actually not bad.
What's his name? The coach, Akime Doku or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's changed that program tremendously.
Good.
And they got some veteran guys that can lead those young guys, like Fred VanVleet. As much as everybody hates him, Dylan Brooks, he's a great vet guy, to have. So
if only he wasn't an asshole. That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right. I think our let's move on to our main topic of today's show, as always, which is Week 12 of the NFL, which was dare I say, it had some of the best of this season and some of the worst of this season. And I think we got to start with the worst on Thanksgiving. Those Thanksgiving games were a bit of a letdown. And I'll start with the obvious. Detroit, the nation is watching you. You are good for the first time since Barry Sanders was on your roster. And you lose to Jordan Love and the Packers. What the hell happened?
Jordan Love came out firing. Green Bay did exactly what they needed to do. The first play of their offensive possession is a play action pass for 50+ yards. And that's how you tear the Lions' momentum down. Once that happened, you saw it from the first play. Once that happened, Green Bay gained all this momentum.
Yeah.
And then they had guys that stepped up. I don't know his name. I just know he's Simone Biles' husband. That guy. He looked really good. He stepped up. He's had to step up since they traded Rasul Douglas. And it's funny, since the Packers have traded Rasul Douglas to the Bills are 1-3 and the Packers are 3-1. Fun stat. But
it's Owens.
That's his name.
Owens. Yeah.
Jonathan Owens. Yeah.
Jonathan Owens. He looked very, very great at corner. He played some of the nickel
safety.
Even had a defensive touchdown.
Yeah. They played him in the slot.
Yeah.
They played him in the slot.
Yeah. He had a great game. Defensive play. Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks.
Oh, he's on fire, dude.
Yeah. Rashawn Gary had 3 sacks. Jordan Love looked amazing. So,
Jordan Love's stat line, 22 of 32 for 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
Woo! I mean, that's every great Packers quarterback has had that one game where everyone goes, okay, he might be the guy. Brett Favre had one. I think it was against the Bengals back in the 90s. Aaron Rodgers had one. I'm trying to remember what it was, but he had one.
He had several.
He said this might be the game that we're like, all right, the Packers might not be screwed. Jordan Love.
Thanksgiving against a really good Lions team. Oh, sorry guys. Also, I'm a little bit under the weather. That's probably why I sound a little off. But
hey, man, no problem.
Remember last week I was saying, Jordan Love actually hasn't played terrible football the last couple of weeks. It's been getting better, and now the nation saw just how good it could be.
Yeah. That game, I think, was the perfect storm of the Packers coming together as a team. Because
I think, honestly, sorry, Isaac.
Oh, go ahead.
Honestly, though, the biggest key to that game was Christian Watson. He finally played the football that we needed to see out of that kid. And like I said, first play of the game, they go deep to him, and it takes me back to last year. That first play of the game against the Vikings, where he dropped the bomb, that was going to be a touchdown. And that was actually the same play. They ran that same exact play. If you go back to that Vikings game from last year in the first game and you look at that play from the other day against Detroit, they ran the same exact play. So to have that confidence in him, to go back to him on the first play and stuff like that, he set the tone from the first play. And him having over 90 plus yards, touchdown, that was the key to their victory.
Yeah, I think it might be a little early to get too much hype for the Packers, just because it's kind of been a turmoil, kind of a tough season, and but they're in the NFC. They could easily they could still make the playoffs. Like they could easily find themselves within the playoffs here.
We're going to look at the playoff picture towards the end of today's episode, but if you look at the playoff picture right now, the Packers 100% they could, because the bottom half of the NFC has gotten really mid. And it's going to be a case of some dumbass team sneaking in there.
It's going to be
my last point on this game is that they really need to stop doing a halftime show for Thanksgiving games, because good God, Jack Harlow was not it. And this is coming from a guy who likes Jack Harlow. I actually don't have an issue with Jack Harlow, but that halftime show was horrible. It's bad when my dad, watching on the couch right before we're eating dinner, was like, who the hell is this white boy? It's like, who is this? And my dad, he's
I like Jack Harlow a little bit. I don't know. I feel like performances like this aren't really his kind of thing, though. I don't know. It's just a weird situation to be in. But before we move off the game, we should probably talk about the Lions a little bit, right? I mean, at this point, what's going on? Like, what's going on with them, Isaac? What's going on, 40? Like, the Lions are they good? Are they not good? Because
I think the Lions
last couple of weeks. I think they're good. They have couple key guys missing on that defensive side. CJ Gardner-Johnson's been out for a while. That's a big,
Yeah, he's a really good presence in the slot for sure.
Very, very great presence. And not only just coverage wise, but he can tackle. So, that's some tackles there. That
slot corner has got to be able to tackle.
Yeah,
he's one of the best at it. He can hit.
Dare I say that they've it felt like last week they kind of started to believe their own hype a little bit, which that's like the number one thing you don't want to do if you're a team on the rise. Like, trust me, there's hype around Detroit, but it's the Detroit Lions. They haven't been consistently good for over 30 years. So for them to finally start to put it together, they have to be really careful now, because if you start believing your own hype, you're going to crash and burn. I have seen too many teams do that, where they, I think back, 2017, where the Chiefs got off to that incredible start. Alex Smith was throwing bombs. Everyone thought, hey, this might be the year the Chiefs finally do it. And they lost 6 of their next 7 games. And again, it was a case of them believing the hype. I don't think this is going to tank Detroit's season. I think the Lions are going to stay competitive. They've been great all season. And it's not a case of, they can't beat good teams, because, of their 3 losses, Packers, they lost to Packers, they lost to the Seahawks, who are kind of we'll talk about the Seahawks in a bit, but they're kind of an iffy team. The only really good team they've lost to were the Ravens.
But the Ravens blew them out. The Ravens made them look like they weren't a good team.
The Ravens made it look like the Lions.
They're a better team than the Packers, and the Packers made them look like they're not a good team. Like, these are teams that the Lions had Super Bowl hype. Like you said, like they have Super Bowl hype this year, and
which is
the last couple weeks they have not been as good. It's not too long ago that the Ravens keep in mind, like, I think 40 said this when you guys talked about it. I don't think I was on, but as much as the Ravens did to the Lions, they could have done worse, because they played a little sloppily. Like, they had some turnovers, and shit. Like, they could have put up like 50 or something on them. Like they really, that was a thrashing. The score doesn't show quite how bad it was. They got, in my opinion, neither did their Thanksgiving game. I think the Packers absolutely whooped them. I think the Lions got like some kind of garbage time touchdown at the end, right? That made the score
like
look a little
41.
closer.
They made a 1-score game with 41 seconds to go. They weren't.
Yeah,
it would take a
it was.
miracle.
Yeah, man. Like it. I don't know, man. This could be a free fall. We have to watch them pretty closely because this isn't like their first strike. Is my
Yeah.
point. They've been, it's particularly Goff, right? Like
Yeah, Goff
I
has
mean,
been playing terrible.
Me and 40 and talk about Howell and Allen, but Goff I think should be put in there just for the last couple weeks alone. If you take the quarterbacks over the last couple weeks, the amount of turnover-worthy plays, he's putting the ball in harm's way constantly at this point.
Think of it like this: the Lions, after they started the season 1-1, they had 4 straight blowout wins over teams that were kind of either bad or in the NFC South. Then they got blown out by the
Still
Ravens.
bad or worse.
Since that loss to the Ravens, they struggled against a bad Raiders team. Nearly lost a shootout to the Chargers. Won a shootout over the Chargers, where their defense allowed 38 points and over 500 yards of offense, and nearly lost to the Bears, and now have lost to the Packers. So it is true. Ever since their last convincing win was when they beat up on the Bucks, but that really doesn't count because it was creamsicle day. We weren't going to win regardless.
Just say it. It doesn't count because it's the Bucks.
No, it doesn't count because it was creamsicle day. My
NFC
computer is
South.
about to die, so I'm actually going to move over here and plug it in. I do want to move on to the next Thanksgiving game real quick because this is the one that one of our teams was involved in. So the Commanders played the Cowboys.
Did they play the Cowboys? Did they play the Cowboys? Did they play the Cowboys?
It's like they showed up for a little bit, but then Dak Prescott did Dak things. By the way,
don't even give it to him. Don't even give that to Dak. Don't even get this. All Washington. Don't even give that. Don't even give it to Dak.
Hey, ESPN really wants to. I know they're already talking about how Dak Prescott.
All right.
Is Dak Prescott the greatest quarterback in Cowboys history? A team that has had one of the Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, and I'll throw Danny White in there because he was a beast during the 80s.
Hold on, don't disrespect my boy Tony Romo.
Tony Romo. I can name like 5 guys better than Dak.
Tony was like that.
Staubach, Aikman, Romo,
Danny White,
Don Meredith, Don White.
You know what? Don Meredith led him to a couple NFL title games. But
that's more playoff success than Dak has had. You can make the argument.
I will say this real quick before you guys get your 2 cents in on this game. Shout out to Dolly Parton, who at like age 83 not only rocked a Cowboys cheerleader uniform, but put on probably the best Thanksgiving halftime show we've seen since Creed in 2001. That's all I'm going to say on this game. And also shout out to Ron Bland for breaking the record for most pick sixes in a season with his 6th.
Yes, I do want to just mention that just to point out that he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year even with that.
Which is
that sucks because he should. He definitely.
No, he shouldn't. Because look at the consistency. All right, is his play consistently at this level, or is he just getting?
No. Listen, because I had the same argument the other day, and I was like, I was telling people the same thing. I said I don't think he's gonna win it, even though he has that, because he's not consistent. I was saying the same exact thing, and I'm speaking to a Cowboys fan, so they're passionate. They're gonna go all out about it.
Yes,
passion and arrogance often get confused, though.
That's true, but
they
start showing me like, how Baldy does the breakdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they start showing me like breakdowns that Baldy was doing with Deron Bland, like after every week when he was talking about Cowboys defense and stuff like that. And he's very consistent. If he's not picking the ball off, he's breaking it up. And if he's not breaking it up and somebody catches the ball on him, it's because he was taking a risk. And like, he kind of reminds me of how Marcus Peters was when Marcus Peters was that crazy, risk-taking interception.
Oh, person. He's a one-man interception factory for those couple of years.
Yeah.
No, he was actually like on like not record-breaking pace or anything like that, but it was notable because of how many he was getting in a time when really no one was getting any.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Deron Bland, he can play, he can ball, he's doing well. It's not just it's not like a Geno Stone thing where love Geno, where he's just getting a whole lot of picks, but then like his tackling isn't necessarily great. He's not the same on every play. Like, let's say Deron Bland is actually really good on every play, or even like great. It doesn't. To me, it's not the same level as how just a spectacular Myles Garrett has been this year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Every single play, he is just crazy. The 6 pick sixes, or it is 6 now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's-
No, 5 pick sixes, 6 interceptions.
That's still crazy though. That's still nuts. 5 pick sixes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's noteworthy. I still think Myles Garrett, as the best defensive player this year, should win Defensive Player of the Year. I'm
Hey.
always of that kind of mindset. That's why I think Aaron Donald's constantly been snubbed, despite the fact that he. Oh,
Real quick, breaking news. Deshaun Jackson has officially retired.
Okay.
I that just popped up. Sorry, just
Shout out my boy DJ, man. Great
I know,
career.
completely unrelated, but just that's a childhood icon gone.
has he played for all of our teams?
He played for
He
the
has.
Bucks.
He played for the Bucks. Played for the Ravens for a little bit, a tiny period.
He's played for the Eagles.
Was pretty good for Washington, and yeah, he played for was really good for the Eagles. Yeah, you know what? All right, let's talk about that a little bit, just because it's worth mentioning. Deshaun
He's a Hall
Jackson.
of Famer, yes. If that's what you're gonna ask, he is a Hall of Famer. Yes.
It wasn't what I was gonna ask.
Hold on a second. Whoa.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but he is. I was gonna say he's had a fantastic storied career, and moments that Deshaun Jackson has given the NFL are going to live forever as some of the greatest moments in NFL history. And he's given several of them.
He might have a case, though, Noam. He might have a case. Super Bowl champ, second team All-Pro in 2009, 3-time Pro Bowler, all-rookie team. Holds the NFL record for most 60-yard touchdowns with 26. Holds the NFL record for most 80-yard touchdowns with 5.
Fair enough.
641 receptions, 11,262 receiving yards, 58 receiving touchdowns, 1,352 return yards, 4 return touchdowns. You could make a case. I'm not saying he's a lock. He's probably not a lock, but you could make a case that Deshaun Jackson should at least be on the short list.
At least.
Maybe not. Maybe the long list.
Look up. Let me see this man's accolades real quick.
The dude is a Hall of Famer, man.
If I can argue that he's a Hall of Famer, I will. I have to believe it. That's all.
I think you can make a case like as a special teamer.
Okay,
you.
Devin Hester has not gotten in yet, so don't say
Devin Hester
as a
is the special team that needs to be in there.
Yes, but
we
can throw that out for Deshaun Jackson. He still has a storied career.
You can make that case for Deshaun Jackson. 11,000
receiving yards. That's very impressive. It's also worth noting how long his career has been. To be frank.
Yeah, 15 years as a receiver.
That's
you don't see that a lot anymore.
The 3 Pro Bowls is a little.
Look what he did in Washington too, though. Washington
with nobody throwing to him, 2,000-yard seasons.
It's almost like Washington could use that right now. Sorry, I had to connect this to what we're talking about.
Let's see. His best year, I would say, at least as a receiver. It's actually
2009.
I was going to say 2013, but you can make the case. Yeah. He's honestly, I don't think he's I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, because I think if he's a Hall of Famer, there's just about 55 other people that I need to see in the Hall of Fame too.
He's had 5 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He led the league in receiving.
So yeah, I can agree with you then, but
I want it though. Like, to be fair,
he also should be mentioned.
So
he led the league in average receiving yards per catch of 4 years, with one point with an average of 22.5 yards per catch.
If they didn't change the rules every year for the Hall of Fame, he'd be a Hall of Famer, because there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame with only 10,000 receiving yards.
For sure, but they'll have more accolades than he has. Like, he only made 3 Pro Bowls, never went first team All Pro for anything. Never. He did go second team All Pro a couple times. He was 5th in Offensive Player of the Year voting once.
You know who's a Hall of Famer that will never get in and sucks?
What's up? Who?
Antonio Brown, man.
Yeah.
AB's a Hall of
Famer. So this is what I'm talking about. Like,
but
if he's probably not going to get in the Hall of Fame strictly for off the field stuff, which that always kind of is a weird thing to me. But let's just break it down for him, all right? Because real quick, 7-time Pro Bowl, first team All Pro 4 times, Super Bowl champ, Hall of Fame All 2010s team, Offensive Player of the Year, I think in 2017. Is that accurate?
No. He was not. He was a 4-time first team All Pro, once second team All Pro, 7 Pro Bowls, led the league in receptions twice, led the league in receiving yards twice, led the league in touchdowns in 2018, Super Bowl champ, 2010's All Decade team.
What is this player of the year thing I'm seeing? It's not actually player of the year, offense player of the year, but it's some. I don't know. Yeah, 900, almost 930 catches, 12,200, almost 12,300 receiving yards, 83 receiving touchdowns. He's done plenty more than plenty of Hall of Fame receivers, to be frank. Like, you could so easily make the argument. You could say it's, for example, I'll say this: my favorite receiver of all time, maybe even my favorite football player of all time, is Marvin Harrison. And I think Marvin Harrison, you could debate some of these years and say he should have had more for sure, but just take the accolades that he does have. I think he went first team All Pro 3 times. Antonio Brown went first team All Pro 4 times. And when Marvin Harrison retired, he was the second best receiver of all time in terms of most statistical categories. So right there, take that, and keep in mind what I'm wearing, arguing for Antonio Brown's Hall of Fame case. I'm just I would love to see both him.
There was a period in time where nobody could cover Antonio Brown.
Oh, I remember clearly. Oh my gosh!
If only
it didn't matter who you put on him.
He's going to be a case study of what happens with severe CTE if you keep trying to play football with it. Because I am convinced that hit in the playoffs in 2015 by Vontez Burfict screwed everything up. Because before that, Antonio Brown was normal
on him. People forget that. He's had more than one of those hits on Antonio Brown. But that one was the worst one by far, though. Oh my gosh!
Now here's my question before we get back on track with our
game recaps.
I was about to
say, we're getting back on track. I got some things to say.
Yeah. Before we get back on track, real quick, Noam, is Reggie Wayne a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. What is that a question?
Yeah. Good. Just checking.
Okay. I do want to throw one more name in here that hasn't been mentioned at all, and it's one of my most hated AFC North rivalries. But AJ Green.
Who?
AJ Green. Gotta be talked about, man.
I was thinking you were going to say Chad Johnson.
You think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say Chad Johnson.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that okay. To me, that's one that everyone knows should already be. Of course, yeah, he's at the top of that list. Deshaun Jackson, Antonio Brown, AJ Green, throw them all out. Ocho Cinco.
Yeah,
Chad. I mean, 2-time second team All Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, All Rookie team in 2011, 727 receptions, 10,514 yards, 70 receiving touchdown. You can make a case. You can make a case for AJ Green.
Here's my case for it, and that's just watch his highlights against the Ravens. The toe taps.
No, I believe it.
The magic he did against us, it's awful because we're always better than the Bengals, but they steal so many games from us solely based off AJ Green's performance.
Yeah,
and it's not like they had nobody covering. Like, they had Jimmy Smith in his prime covering him. It just wouldn't matter. AJ Green is too big and too had his feet just on him.
The thing is, too, I actually like that because he wasn't washed when he went to the Cardinals. He just went to the wrong team.
Yeah, that was his last thing, right? Like, he just didn't, no performance there.
Yeah.
And then he's just done. Now he's just out of the league. It's a shame. 70 touchdowns, 10.5K receiving yards. I mean, that's another storied career. But yeah, we should probably get back on track. It's always fun talking about these Hall of Fame cases. So I always enjoy that.
That we should do it once we hit the off season. We definitely need to do an episode like that. But anyway, so Calvin, you clearly had some stuff you wanted to talk about with Washington. Go ahead.
Well, I expected it. I think I told you guys last week Washington would be lucky to score 12 points. Did they score 12 points? No.
They scored 10.
Yeah, so I it's what I expected. But I honestly expected Ron to be left in Dallas, not just Del Rio.
They did fire him, right?
But like Noam said, it was all Washington's defense. You can't really say it's Dak Prescott. That's why Del Rio got left in Dallas. Defense is trash. Guys look like they don't care out there. They look like they don't want to play football out there. I mean, you got guys just running wide open across the field. Kevontae Turpin's touchdown, like there was nobody within 20 yards of him. CeeDee Lamb's touchdown, there was nobody within 6 yards of him. Like guys don't look serious. And then, you go on the offensive side. I love EB to death, but 4th and 1, why the hell are we in shotgun and throwing the ball on a go route to Terry McLaurin on 4th and 1? Like,
oh my gosh,
it just doesn't make
Rivera,
sense to me.
bro. Ron.
Like it's I don't know. The Washington's not serious, and every year in the offseason, they trick the press and the fans as if they are serious, but they're the most unserious franchise in NFL history. And that's telling you something, because there's teams that have gone 0-16 before, but Washington is the most embarrassing franchise in NFL history. Like it's not even fun to be a fan, which is why I don't even let them raise my blood pressure anymore. Like, I used to get mad at losses. I used to get mad at games.
Come
But
on
yeah,
over.
exactly.
Come on over, bro.
What
Come on
Noah was
over.
showing. I transitioned over a long time ago, because Lamar was already my favorite player when he was at Louisville. Once he came to you guys, I was like, all right, I like the Ravens a little bit. But then once the Redskins turned very unserious, I was like, yeah, I'm a Lamar guy for sure.
Calvin, I don't know how you can say they're the most embarrassing team in the NFL when this is the same league in which the Atlanta Falcons exist. So
No,
I mean,
I'm gonna be straight.
but-
Take our lifetime though. The
in our
Washington
lifetime,
has
yeah,
a storied history for sure. But
in our
take our
lifetime,
lifetime. Can you honestly say, because the Browns at various points have gotten it together, and yeah, they're the Browns.
Yeah,
They're
they
the
have,
worst ever in our lifetime for sure. But take Washington, and honestly, 40. What you said last week has just kind of been living in my head rent free the entire game. On Thanksgiving, I was just like, it was sort of just like, these players are not serious, and I'm just like, another example of not being serious, and followed by another example. I'm just like, he might be onto something. They checked out. They
yeah.
checked out. Why is Rivera still there? None of them believe in him. The media, the fans, 40 being a great example, don't believe in him, because what has he given you to believe in? Howell played terribly, but I'm not going to even hold that too much against him. I mean, he was god awful in that game, but
Dallas defense is legit.
yeah, we knew that. We knew he was
I
going
gotta
to
give
be.
you
They're
some.
a phenomenal defense, a phenomenal pass rush against a terrible O line, and a quarterback who loves walking into sacks even when he doesn't have to. Like, he adds to that specific issue that the O line is giving him. And against this pass rush, we knew that would be the case, and it was the case. So I'm not going to even. He performed within expectations. The rest of Washington, I mean, I guess they also did, because, like 40 said, they hit the under for his score. He said
Yeah.
12. They gave 10. Dallas hit the over. You said, like, what, 38, something like that?
Said 37.
Yeah, didn't go far enough, I guess.
Didn't go far
Jesus.
enough.
And I do
So-
wonder. I do wonder about, like, the whole. Another thing that shows they're not serious. Like, I know I keep bringing this up week after week since it happened, but the freaking trade, like, the getting rid of both your edge rushers,
Yeah.
Makes no
Chase,
sense.
Montez Sweat. It's not like these were phenomenal players, but they were having pretty good years. And you have Allen and Payne on the interior. These guys push the pocket. You have, like, they're a unit for a reason, even when they're not great every game or anything like that. But you traded both of your starting edge rushers. Now, I'm sure you've noticed the interior guys, either they've completely checked out, or wow, their performance has dropped astronomically, because nobody is worried about the fourth and fifth string edge rushers. I forgot James Smith-Williams got injured too. So what Washington is an embarrassment. It's like you said, it's just crazy. Like, the more you think about stuff, the more you just the fact that you can keep naming more and more things that they do, that's just crazy, and just shows a lack of seriousness. I don't want to steal your term, but
I'm
I find
very
myself agreeing.
surprised. I'm very surprised Rivera wasn't left in Dallas with Del Rio. Like,
What's the motive behind that? Like, why
I
would
don't know how he made it back to Washington. I really don't.
At this point, it's like, put the enemy up there. That's all. They got to
Yeah.
get rid of him. There's
Yeah.
there's nothing else to say other than
He
he's
said
gotta
that
go.
it'd be a 4 to 5 year plan with him. I think we're in year 5 and we're still 4-9.
Yeah,
His best year was
Really?
year 1, I think, frankly.
something like
It's
that.
been worse ever since.
Yeah, year
Ugh.
1 was his one good year.
It wasn't even like that great, but I think they snuck in the playoffs, and
Yeah, we stuck in the playoffs.
they gave Brady a game.
Yep, we played the Bucks. Yep.
Yeah, that game still concerns me. The Super Bowl never felt right. That
Well,
game in particular.
honestly, I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't rigged for Brady that year, the Washington probably should have won that game.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. And
We
gonna be
had the
probably
best
right.
football
Washington
game.
probably should have won that game because Heineke was balling out, and we
I'm
were
going to
giving you
be
guys.
off the camera,
Wait.
blow my nose, but I will say, just not that on record, but I completely agree with Porty.
Because
I hate
remember,
all of
we
you.
did we scored the touchdown to tie the game. They called it back over a holding, supposedly.
Yeah.
A holding.
As the resident Bucks fan, even I will say that whole Super Bowl run felt tainted because it felt like we were getting away with some shit. So
Yeah.
we don't even need to talk about the actual Super Bowl, or as I like to call it, the Ref Bowl, where
yeah,
they
that was a
records
painful.
for penalties against the Chiefs in the first half.
That's
Super
kind
Bowl
of
history records.
thing.
Tampa Bay.
Anyway, we don't got to get on that. We don't
Yeah.
got.
So speaking of Super Bowl favorites, the last Thanksgiving game, I was looking forward to this one, but it really didn't pan out because Seattle is dealing with some shit right now. San Francisco 31, Seattle 13. Christian McCaffrey, 19 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know it won't happen, but like since the CJ Stroud hype has died down, can we say that Christian McCaffrey could be a potential favorite for MVP, or am I speaking out of my
Lamar
ass?
Jackson.
If not Lamar, because I'm starting to see Lamar, because bro is like, I mean, the Ravens. We'll get to the Ravens in a sec, but can I just throw McCaffrey's hand in there real quick?
You can throw his hand in there, but
Yeah.
you have the rest of Lamar Jackson's body in there too, and combined with a couple other players you can mention.
And not only that, you got McCaffrey missed those 2 games due to the injury. So.
Right.
And on top of how it's just it's just a quarterback award nowadays apparently. On top of that, he missed games. And if you remember Wentz's 2017 year where he was clearly the best quarterback by a mile.
It's
and
okay.
who won the MVP? Tom Brady, who did not have one of his best years that year.
It's okay. We have a
Because
safe option.
Wentz missed 2 games.
We have the Burt Bell Award, which is the other MVP trophy that they don't talk about, where the people within the industry give it out. They usually give that to the person who truly deserves it. Case in point, in 2014, instead of Aaron Rodgers, they gave it to J.J. Watt. In 2017, they gave it to Carson Wentz. The Burt Bell Award is honestly the more accurate MVP. Hang on, who won it last year? They don't talk. The media doesn't like to talk about it because
maybe is that what Antonio Brown might have won that you looked up that you saw? No.
It's
no.
He was someone's offensive player of the year, but it wasn't the Associated Press. It must have been like some kind of smaller thing, like maybe SI or something. I don't know.
The Burt Bell Award over the last couple of years, Burt Bell Award. So 2017 was Carson Wentz, 2018 Patrick Mahomes, 2019 Lamar Jackson, 2020 they did not give out the award because of COVID. 2021 Jonathan Taylor, 2022 Jalen Hurts. So the Burt Bell Award is the other MVP award.
I'm not going to call it the other MVP award, but I do see the argument.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're much more. It's usually a quarterback or a running back, but every so often they will sneak a defensive player in there. J.J. Watt won in 2014. What's his name? Lawrence Taylor won in 86.
Didn't he also win MVP that year, though? No, that wasn't that year.
No.
Didn't he all?
No.
Lawrence Taylor actually did win MVP, though, so thing. But no, onto the 49ers and Seahawks. Expected result, I think. 49ers, they've righted the ship. They're again, in my opinion, I think they're the best team in the league. Again, they had that 3-game slump. They're over it. Purdy, frankly, I'm going to be honest. Brock Purdy could be up there in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he would win it, but I think he deserves to be in the conversation for how well he's played lately. Because I think he's proven that he's more than a system guy. Because some of these throws are like throws with anticipation and everything, and stepping up in the pocket. Like it's not. Remember when McVay was like living inside of Jared Goff's head in like 2018, and that was just kind of that. This is not that. That's all I'm saying. Seahawks, they continue to kind of flounder about. I'd say they have reasons to be concerned, and the more scary thing for them is they have their schedule is going to get pretty difficult, I think, in the next couple games. So they have to seriously like right the ship that they're on right now.
Yep. Yeah, I think you guys hit the hammer on the nail, honestly. I mean, but 49ers look good. One statistic that I saw that is insane to me is, and he actually didn't have a single stat in the box score last week, and it's because he takes away a lot of the double teams from Joey Bosa. Plus, he only played 26 snaps. But San Francisco has 15 sacks since Chase Young has arrived.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, like since, and I will point out though that I'm pretty sure every advanced stat will back me up on this in terms of pass rush win percentage, yada yada, pressures. I'm pretty sure Chase has also gotten better since going to San Francisco, even if he hasn't gotten the same amount of sacks. I think his overall performance is better. And you take him, you put him on the line opposite Bosa with Javon Kinlaw, Arik Armstead, and Javon Hargrave there. And what do you know? Their defense is nasty in San Francisco. Like, they are a really complete team right now.
So there was one other game over Thanksgiving weekend on Black Friday, the first ever Black Friday game, and hopefully the only one. Dolphins and Jets. This game was, as expected, complete blowout by the Dolphins. The Jets started Tim Boyle, who surprisingly did both better and worse than Zach Wilson, I would say. Better. He completed more passes. He went 27 of 38 for 179 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Worse, one of those picks was a 99-yard pick six because he tried to throw a Hail Mary. Suffice to say, the Jets announced today that Aaron Rodgers has been cleared by the NFL to begin practicing again, which is utterly absurd. They might need him. I personally would go against it. I'd say, hey, listen, the season's lost, have him fully heal up. But at the same time, the Jets don't have a quarterback. Tim Boyle is trash. What's his name? The Mormon one.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson
trash.
is trash. Yeah. Sorry, he's from BYU. It's just a thing with BYU. You remember when BYU used to pump out amazing quarterbacks left and right? They had like a 3-year stretch of the 80s where it was Steve Young, Jim McMahon, Ty Detmer. Yeah.
No, I don't remember. To answer your question.
No, so it's honestly, the Jets might want to just say screw it and activate Aaron Rodgers. He's probably going to blow his Achilles up on his first play back, but
I think that would be a terrible decision on their part.
I think that is an absolutely terrible decision on their part, just due to the fact that the man's almost 40 years old. If he isn't 40 years old already, I don't know. I think he's like 38 or 39, maybe 40, but regardless, the man's almost 40 years old. He tears his Achilles again, he's done for. There's no coming back again after that one. Like, I don't know.
He turns 40 in 3 days, I think.
I don't even get it. How
I don't know what's
possible that he's like, just imagine a guy like Myles Garrett running 100 miles per hour at Aaron Rodgers. He's not escaping that.
No, he would probably die. Like, he'd probably actually just
think of it like this.
die.
Think of it like this. Dolphins linebacker Jalen Phillips, who was balling this season, tore his Achilles in that game.
Edge rusher.
Linebacker.
No, edge rusher.
I refuse to adopt this new football lingo. Damn
He's not a linebacker.
Okay,
he's a linebacker in a 3-4. He's an edge rusher. Don't say linebacker as if he's like CJ Mosley.
Okay. Well,
like
anyway, edge rusher Jalen Phillips tore his Achilles against the Jets. If you watched any of the Hard Knocks episode, Phillips was in tears saying, like, I was balling, man, like acting like his career might be over. Aaron Rodgers, meanwhile, is planning to play on a torn Achilles, or wants to play on a torn Achilles. This is not going to go well for the Jets.
No, there's definitely something.
Jalen Phillips is 24 years old. Jalen Phillips is younger than all of us, and he's already like, my career might be over. Aaron Rodgers is nearly 40, and it's like, I'm going to play on an Achilles that got torn a couple months ago.
Yeah, so
I don't know, man.
That would be dumb. That'd be dumb because the season's lost. You're in the AFC, bro. This is
You're not. You're 4-7. You're not doing.
The situation just seems a little sketchy to me. Like, either he didn't tear the Achilles and he just popped a muscle or something. And I don't know. Like, maybe he wants to win comeback player of the year, because I will tell you,
he can step on the field and do that.
The odds for him to win comeback player of the year like 4 weeks ago were plus 4,000. Now they're only plus 1,000. So
wow.
Stupid. It's stupid.
I don't know.
There's something to talk about for the Jets, and that is this. They'll be able to. They have a fantastic defense. They'll be able to stay in games because of that. Their offense is terrible. Zach Wilson is terrible. Tim Boyle is obviously not the answer. Do you need a quarterback in there? Yeah, it's Aaron. And do you need Aaron Rodgers? For sure. But no, just
Not right now.
write the season off. Use this to develop the talent you do have. Try and make something work.
Get
And
him
just
some O-linemen.
develop
Yeah.
change up your scheme a little bit, like see what functions, see what you guys can do, try and progress your talent, and just walk out of the year with your quarterback alive to come into next year. For Phillips, I want to mention him because I remember when he came out, he was considered the best edge prospect that year, but his injury concern, that's why he was so emotional about it, is because this is an injury that he has had before. He's torn his ACL before too. He has his injuries were his biggest flag coming out. It's because of that stuff. And yeah, he was phenomenal this year too. It's really sad to see him go down, frankly. Bright future ahead of him.
Let's talk about the Dolphins real quick though.
Sure.
What is their record now?
The Dolphins are 8-3. They're in like a three or four-way tie for the number 1 seed.
8-3, and those 3 losses have come from all good teams. Those 8 wins have come from all teams that are below 500. And they'll probably get their 9th win this week with another team that's below 500 playing Washington. So are the Dolphins good, or can they just beat below 500 teams?
The Dolphins are going to finish with a great record, probably win the AFC East. And then in the first round of the playoffs, they are going to get upset by either Pittsburgh or Cleveland, probably.
I did say that in the beginning of the season, I did say that they would be the best team in their division. I did 100% have them winning their division.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was because as well they would be beating the good teams. Like, I don't think they've beaten a good team yet.
There's something to discuss about their what do you think for? Like, do you think they're good, or do you think, like, do you
They have
believe in what
talent?
you
They have
see?
crazy amount of talent, but I only see their talent go to its highest level when they're playing the below 500 teams. Because if you look at that Eagles game that they lost, offense didn't really do too much. I mean, if you really look at it, the defense kept them in that game because Jalen Hurts had the pick 6 or the fumble and they ran it back or whatever. But then after that, the offense was quiet, and so they're great players come out and play against these below 500 teams, but I haven't seen it against one of these great teams yet.
You got a point here. You definitely have a point here. Let's just, to break it down really quickly. Week 1 squeaks past the Chargers. Week 2 beats I think was it the Patriots, 1-score game. Week 3 annihilates the 70-20 game against the Dolphins, or against the Broncos. Yeah. Week 4 gets annihilated by the Bills, 48-20. There's something to this. They lose to the Chiefs. They beat the Raiders. Like this. There's something to all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say this in regards to the film. What does the film show? I actually do buy into the Dolphins. I think they're very good. Tua, I'm hearing MVP stuff about Tua, and I want to say I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Tua has this habit of putting the ball in harm's way more often than people are discussing.
He did it on Friday a ton.
Yeah. He did have 2 interceptions.
So we got about 10 minutes left in today's show. I think we're going to go over it a bit, but I really quickly want to move on and do a quick rapid fire for some of the Sunday games, because there's one Sunday game in particular that we are going to talk about, but the other ones do deserve a mention. So quick rapid fire. If anyone has any comments, fire them in. Steelers fire Matt Canada, pile up 421 yards their first game without him to beat the Bengals. Well, look at that. They do have an offense. Only scored 16 points, though. Should mention that.
Yeah.
Bengals.
I don't really have too much to say about that game. I do want to talk about the game that you said we're going to talk about, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm saving that one for last. Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud duked it out in a game that should decide the AFC South. Jags won as the Texans missed a potential game-tying field goal. To be fair, not everybody is Jake Elliott, though. So I'll say that much. Tampa Bay season. Tampa Bay, once again, was reminded that we're nothing without Tom Brady as we lost to the Colts. Indianapolis is now in playoff contention, but Jonathan Taylor might be out for the season with an ankle injury. So
Did I take the Colts to win that?
I think you did. I think you did.
So.
Atlanta, the Falcons celebrated 50 years of hip-hop with a massive concert at halftime featuring Ludacris being rappelled down from the ceiling, which was awesome. And they celebrated that by whooping the Saints and taking the lead in the NFC South. Or as this year's who wants to win a division.
I think this is the Falcons' division to take. That's my statement. I think they are actually this game to me put them as the best of the worst. I think they are the best in that division. Desmond Ritter's been better the last couple games. I say better, but man, it's a low bar. He was just so bad. Yeah. Nothing about them impresses me, but I think if this is the time to start winning games for them, if they want to take this division, and they have so far.
Meanwhile, in the Meadowlands, the Giants wrapped up their second straight win as they beat the Patriots 10-7. Guys, look what I got. Look what I got, guys. It's our Josh Allen dumbass interception of the week. Mac Jones, 12 of 21, 89 yards, 2 picks, got benched for Bailey Zappi, who did even worse.
Again,
Patriots suck.
Patriots suck. That's I'm now officially over the line on. I mean, I was over the line on that, but I said that I was always going to kind of take him I think I took the Patriots because I was like, the slightest bit of belief is there that they're just going to beat this other terrible team. No, they're if the Panthers didn't exist, they would be the worst team in the league.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to point this out. The Patriots are the first team in NFL history to hold their opponent to 10 points in 2 consecutive games and lose both of them.
Makes sense. They have no talent.
It's amazing. The dynasty is finally dead.
Like we always say, though, Bill Belichick can dial up a goddamn defense, man.
Yeah, he can. Always will be able to.
I'm convinced that he's going to resign at the end of the season. I'm convinced. Speaking of resignation or firings.
If he were to go to the Chargers right now, that team would instantly be in the Super Bowl every year. I'm sorry.
You're probably right.
Switch him and Staley. Things would make much more sense.
So we have our first we have another in-season firing. The Panthers have said goodbye to Frank Reich as they fell to the Titans 17-10. Carolina is still mathematically eligible for the playoffs because the NFC South is hot booty this year.
What?
But it would require the Bucks. It would require the Bucks to only win one of their final 7 games. The Saints and Falcons to both lose out, so it's not going to happen.
1-10.
And they still have a chance because the NFC South.
And there's still it's mathematical. So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a 50-50 chance. If they win out, the Bucks beat the Falcons and lose all the remaining games, and the Falcons and Saints lose out, the Panthers win the South.
It's possible.
It is because all these teams are trash.
Yeah.
What do we think of Frank Reich's firing? Deserved?
Yeah, for sure.
He's garbage.
I think the front office needs to start fixing up how they're doing things too. That's all I'll say about that.
I just say ever since David Tepper took over as owner, the Panthers have been one of the worst teams in the league. So
I will say though, Frank Reich did want CJ Stroud.
He did. And I don't think Bryce Young is a bad quarterback at all. I just think that
I don't think Bryce Young is a bad quarterback either. I just don't think he has a good team around him.
Yeah. I still can't believe they beat the Texans. That just doesn't make sense to me. On to the late games. The Rams back in the conversation for playoffs as they dominate Arizona 37-14. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but there's a chance considering how competitive the bottom of the NFC has gotten. Denver picks up their 6th consecutive victory. 5th. Denver wins their 5th straight game as they beat the Browns 29-12. But Sean Payton, his teams have a habit of playing dirty. They got a late hit on Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I think they knocked him out for a while. So PJ Walker is QB1 in Cleveland again.
I think that's honestly better. I think PJ Walker's better than Dorian Thompson personally. But for the Broncos, real quick, it's time to start acknowledging the fact that they've been a better team and they are not the meme that they walked into the season as. They have won 5 straight, and it's been pretty convincing. Russ has been playing better football, still not what he was, but okay. There's something there. The fact that they put up 29 on the Browns defense, man.
Oh yeah.
Broncos, you wouldn't think them capable of that if this were 5 weeks ago.
No, they're really turning it around there.
They've improved.
Speaking of the AFC West, Chiefs getting back on track. Big win over the Raiders, 31-17. The other team in the West, the Chargers, on the other hand, well, they got out the old mid-2000s throwbacks and got that ass whooped by Baltimore as usual. I'll give the credit. They kept it close-ish, but Baltimore.
They didn't really get whooped. I don't think Washington this is like the Chargers are just gonna charge her, man. Like they are a super talented team, and this is like one of the. It's weird to say that because they lost 20-10, but this is one of the weeks where they showed how talented they could actually be. They pretty good. Baltimore's offense didn't really do anything to impress me. Their defense was phenomenal. Yeah, like the fact that Baltimore's offense can win like this and this convincing of a win while still playing okay.
Yeah,
that's just what I'm saying. Like, imagine when they do turn it on.
Oh, I know. We've seen this season what happens when they turn it on. They turn it on. Meanwhile, on Monday Night Football, I'm pulling it out again. Congratulations to the Passionaut, Josh Dobbs, for also winning the Josh Allen Dumbest Interception of the Week award. He threw 4 of them little shits to the Bears as the Vikings fall. How, Minnesota? How? Why? Why did you lose to the Bears? That's just painful. But anyway, I said we would save the best for last. I'm going to keep this banner up because let's talk about Bills-Eagles. Arguably the best game of the year so far. Eagles force overtime against the Bills. Fantastic game. Before you start this argument, gentlemen, I just want to quickly point out that Josh Allen went 29 of 51. Holy shit, 51. 29 of 51 for 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 dumbass interception. So
it's always going to happen.
Always stared the cornerback down and everything.
It was so bad. Such a terrible throw. But I imagine Sean McDermott was like, "What are you doing?" on the sideline. But he was like,
the Bills are 6-6. What do we think? The Eagles are 10-1 and have not won a convincing game probably all season.
Now, I'll be honest with you. As much as I hate this guy, as much as I dog him every week, if it wasn't raining outside, he probably has 600 yards against that Eagles defense. The Eagles defense has not been impressive at all this year. Like, and they actually got away with a lot of stuff. That holding on Diggs, the play where Josh Allen gets a flag where his jersey gets ripped in damn near half. I just don't even understand how he got a flag on that play. And then, Jake Elliott saves him with a crazy 59-yard field goal to force overtime.
In the pouring rain.
Yeah, that's
Josh Allen misses Gabe Davis in overtime to win the game. So the Eagles just they keep getting lucky and sneaking away with these victories. I don't think they have impressed anyone yet, though. I mean, I'm not hating at all. Salute to them. They're 10-1. Whoop-de-doo. A win's a win, but nothing has been impressive yet. And I think when they actually play one of these great teams in the playoffs, 49ers, or if they were to make it to the Super Bowl and they play Baltimore is going to run because like Noam just said, Baltimore won that game the other day without even playing with their full potential. Odell really could have had 125 yards in that game. They slowed him down the whole second half. I think he only had 1 catch the second half.
Yeah.
So that Ravens offense shows you that they can win in different ways. That Ravens team shows you they can win in different ways. In the Super Bowl, though, they'll be the most locked in possible. They'll try to go put 70 points on the board. It doesn't matter who they're playing. So I think if the Eagles were to make it to the Super Bowl and play the Ravens are going to dominate that team.
I hope.
Number 1, because Lamar doesn't lose the NFC teams. Number 2, because their defense has not been impressive at all. And Baltimore's offense has too much talent for you to be slacking and playing mediocre defense.
Yep. The Chiefs game last week, 7 drops. They win that one. They squeak out. I know I took them to win that game, but the Chiefs should have won against the Eagles. That was one of the best teams in the league that the Eagles did beat. Not at all convincing in any way. It could have so easily, it was not only did they get one coin flip that worked out their ways, they got several coin flips that all landed on their side. That's really the only reason they won. This one, not too different, to be frank. I mean, I do think they earned this one a little more just because they were good. But again, they so easily could have lost. Like, my goodness.
And on top of that, Jalen Hurts didn't look good at all until it was time to go win that football game. I mean, that's when it matters. But
Yeah,
I don't think he had 200 yards over 200 yards passing. On top of that, going into halftime, he only had like 24 yards passing. I know it was raining outside, but halftime, Josh Allen, like I said, as much as I hate the guy, I think he had over 140 yards passing at halftime. So, it just is like, how come this guy can have this at halftime, but you can't have this at halftime? And the Bills defense didn't look too good either. So it didn't
yeah,
make sense to
exactly.
me why he couldn't have, a dominant game. And then everybody's talking about this guy being an MVP. Yo, this is the MVP, this is the MVP.
Who
What the
hurts?
hell has he done to be the MVP? Throwing
No,
18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Sam Howell has 18 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. So Sam Howell fucking MVP too?
well,
Like,
Sam
what
Howell's
are we
leading the
talking
league in
about?
passing yards.
Exactly. And Sam has 3,000 plus passing yards and leads the league in passing yards. Jalen Hurts has like 2,400 passing yards. So what is it that Jalen Hurts has done to be an MVP? And if you're saying it's because his record is 10-1,
Nope, wins are not a QB stat.
wins are not a QB
Throw that
stat.
out
That is
immediately.
a team
Throw the argument
statistic.
out.
That is a team statistic.
Wins are correct. Yeah. To me, stats are stats. Like you said, Hurts, Howell, stats are similar. Hurts is obviously a vastly superior QB to him, and that shows on film. In this game, he wasn't great. He was okay. He was solid, and at the end of the game, he did his job and came alive. Sure, yeah, give it to him. MVP, I don't see it. At least if he goes on a tear and starts playing phenomenally like he did at the end of last year, I could easily see it. But right now, no. Just hasn't, like you said, it's not been convincing enough. The Eagles are not very convincing. They have a phenomenal defensive line, and that's about it. The linebackers, secondary, I don't know. They squeak out a win against the Bills. Josh Allen was phenomenal in this game.
I mean, I can't take it away from him in this game. He looked phenomenal besides the dumbass interception that he threw, but he throws one of those once a week. So.
Yeah, every
I guess we
week
should make
he
an
does.
asterisk. Like Josh Allen looking phenomenal is Josh Allen phenomenal. Where
Yeah.
he plays like an MVP quarterback, but he's still with the caveat of he's still Josh Allen, so he has those mistakes, and sometimes they get sometimes the defenders come down with them like they did this time.
And sorry, before you change the subject,
Yeah.
I
go ahead.
will say I blame that last play on Gabe Davis, not Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen made the very absolute correct decision. You got two guys in your face, got to get the ball out quick. Gabe Davis had already burnt the corner. All he has to do is just turn his head around. I don't know why he was going to run the corner route instead of just turning his head around when you've already beat your defender. It just didn't make sense to me.
It could be a route thing, and Davis is still a very young deep threat. He could have been trying to do his route, and that might have been a technically inaccurate throw by Allen, who didn't hit him on the route that he was supposed to be on. But like you said, for the amount that he was being pressured, that's a pretty accurate throw. It was there. Allen is obviously a vastly superior quarterback to Sam Howell. right.
I think they're on the same level.
Oh, don't tell me that again.
So we got about 10 minutes left before Noam. I know you have to head out. So let's quickly look at the playoff picture, and then we'll make our game picks for week 13. So the playoff picture, the AFC, Baltimore would be the 1 seed. They would get the first round bye. Your wild card matchups as of week 12, Indianapolis at Kansas City, Cleveland at Jacksonville, Pittsburgh at Miami.
I would say Miami. Wait, who was the other?
It's Indianapolis at Kansas City, Cleveland at Jacksonville, Pittsburgh at Miami.
I'd say Miami. Cleveland sneaking Jacksonville somehow, some way.
They could do it.
And the Chiefs. I don't even know why I had to think about that. Chiefs would be the Colts.
It's Colts led by Gardner Minshew. It's ridiculous. In the NFC, Philadelphia would get the first round bye. Your wild card games would be Minnesota at San Francisco, Seattle at Detroit, and Dallas at Atlanta.
Seattle and Detroit's interesting because they're both kind of in the floundering era, but
Seattle has Detroit's number for some reason.
They do.
I would say Detroit is a much better team. Is it not much better? But they're a better team than Seattle is right now. But
yeah, and Seattle beat them at the beginning of the year. It's hard to beat a team twice, so I would probably give that one
maybe
this time around.
I think Seattle, like you said, they seem to have their number, despite the fact that even if Detroit's a better team, I think Seattle will take the majority of that.
Speaking of the Seahawks, they're going to kick off our Week 13 game picks. They're on the road in Dallas on Thursday, facing off against the Cowboys. Who do we got in this one, and why is it the Cowboys?
I'm taking Seattle.
Oh, No.
Yeah.
No.
So, I know. It's all right. For the record, I know. All right. Dak has been on an absolute rampage lately. He's been lighting up these weak ass teams and just been destroying them, putting up numbers and MVP. Yeah, whatever. All right, yeah, sure. They have not beaten a team with a winning record. They have not beaten
enough.
a good team at all. Seattle is unfortunately probably going to be the first team that they do beat because they've just been floundering so bad. They don't seem to have a thing like, a game plan. Gino's doing okay, but he's not being he's not being amazing. I'm still going to give it to them. I still think I can't believe in the Cowboys because every time I try to, they mess up. So I think the Seattle takes this one by 3. They shouldn't. The Cowboys should whoop them. They're a way better team. The talent discrepancy is huge, but I still think I think Seattle's good enough that it's just gonna. Oh God, it's a good team. What do we do? And they'll fall apart.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Noam.
Woohoo!
And the reason that I'm agreeing with Noam is because I'm looking at the point spread here right now, and they have Dallas by 9, and I just think that's very disrespectful to Seattle.
9.
I know Dallas is the better team talent-wise, like Noam was saying, but 9 points is a large gap between Seattle and Dallas. If Dallas were to win this game, I think it'd be a 3-point game. But I'm going with Seattle because, like Noam said, I think Seattle is a good enough team for Dallas to make those dumbass mistakes, and I think we'll be back to seeing the real Dak Prescott this week, where he only throws for like 200 yards, 2 interceptions, shit like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think Seattle's defense comes to play this week, and they sneak a victory out in Dallas.
For the record, I do think a 9-point differential is fair for the amount that the Cowboys are better than the Seahawks. Like, I do think that is actually fair for how much they should win, but they are the Cowboys, so they're not. I don't think they're gonna. I don't
I
think
think
they're
it
gonna
should
do
even
that.
still
Y'all are crazy.
even looking at it like that. I think it should be like 6.5. 9 is a lot, bro.
9 is a lot. I know, but I can see it. I can see it, but I don't think they'll do that. They should win. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Give me Chargers Patriots to kick off
Who are you
Sunday's
taking,
early slate.
Isaac?
Oh, who am I taking? Oh, Cowboys. I don't
All right,
trust
we'll
the
see.
Seahawks.
Yeah, me neither. But I
don't
trust
trust
Cowboys
them.
less.
Chargers.
Give me the Chargers, man. The Patriots checked out a long time ago.
Chargers got to get back on track. If the
Chargers,
Chargers lose,
Patriots?
Brandon Staley's got to go.
Holy crap! Oh my god! If the Chargers somehow charger this one, they've been charging all year. Just like they're a good team. They have talent, but they've been charging all year.
It might happen.
Against the Patriots. I have to take the Chargers. I mean, they're just so much
Yeah.
better. But like, oh my god! Imagine if they actually freaking lose to the Patriots now at this point.
Steelers
Ugh.
Cardinals. This one's pretty easy too. The Steelers are finally starting to look like the Steelers. If their offense keeps playing that way without Matt Canada, yeah, Steelers.
Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well. Cardinals just aren't convincing at all, even with Kyler Murray back.
They're
Cardinals
not. But I think they can stay in games and be scrappy enough. And I don't believe in what I see in Pittsburgh, frankly.
Cardinals might be the first team eliminated from the playoffs too.
They're not even in the NFC South. What's going on?
Colts Titans. Big game for the Colts trying to prove themselves to be legitimate. I think Indianapolis is going to win this one. Colts have been doing sneakily good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, things look exciting for the Colts, especially going into next year when you get back Anthony Richardson healthy.
Yeah,
They've been playing really well and been setting up enough that I'm like, okay, you know what? They've been showing me enough to think that they could actually be very good next year, and I wouldn't be surprised to find them in the playoffs, frankly, just because they have been putting it together. Yeah, I think this is the week that they continue to prove that.
I'm gonna disagree with both of you and go with the Titans.
all right.
The reason I'm going with the Titans are at home. They'll have the crowd behind them. They looked very great last week. They got Derrick Henry back involved. He had 2 touchdowns. If they can get him and Tajay Spears on the same pace where they're both going for 60, 70 plus yards, both have a touchdown, keep getting DeAndre Hopkins in the mix how they were last week. I think the Titans have some good potential into growing this team into next year. And I think they'll sneak out against the Colts. The Colts losing Jonathan Taylor for a year is gonna. I know they have Zach Moss, but losing Jonathan Taylor for the year is a big key as well. And I think that the Titans defense can do just enough to help their offense sneak out a victory.
Texans are taking on the Broncos. Crucial game between two teams fighting for a playoff spot in the AFC. I'm going to go with Denver. I think that the Broncos keep the streak going. The CJ Stroud hype train's it hasn't been derailed, but it's made a pit stop. I think Denver's going to win this one. This is going to be a good matchup, though.
This is going to be a great matchup.
Let him go first.
Two solid defenses. I think Houston edges it out, though, just because they're at home, and I don't see CJ Stroud losing 2 straight. I was actually reading a statistic maybe about 2 days ago, and I think it said the last time CJ Stroud lost 2 straight games was his sophomore year in high school or something like that.
Just real quick, because I gotta hurry up and go. But I think these teams are neck and neck. I'm gonna choose to believe in the Texans a little bit more and take them as well. But I wouldn't be surprised. I really think these teams are dead even.
Yeah.
I think we should rapid fire the rest of these so we can let Noam get out of here. Give me Lions Saints. Lions get back on track. They're going to win this one easily.
Lions.
Yeah, I got Lions.
Lions. Falcons Jets. It's the Falcons, man. It's the Jets. Gross.
Bad matchup for the Falcons. Still going to take them. They don't have a good offense. Jets have a great defense. Won't matter. Still going to win. Falcons.
I think the Jets sneak this one at home.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay. All right. Dolphins Commanders. What are we, crazy? Dolphins are going to win by like 80 this time.
Yeah, Dolphins.
Panthers Buccaneers. Fuck it. I'm going all in on the Panthers running the table. Carolina.
Against your own team, you're like, there's a chance.
There's a chance. I want it to happen.
There's no way there's a chance.
First game without Frank Wright, division game. Yeah, I like Carolina too.
Bucks. I want to, guys. I want to. Really, I do, but I can't convince myself. I hope they do, though. Come on, Panthers.
Big game of the week. NFC Championship game rematch. Niners, Eagles. Hey, this is the Eagles' second loss of the season. Niners. Browns, Rams. Crucial game for both of these teams. I think Los Angeles pulls this one out.
I like the Rams. I'm going to take them here.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Packers on Sunday Night Football. Jordan Love is starting to get there, but he's not there yet. Go Chiefs.
Got to go with Chiefs.
Finally, Monday night, Jacksonville versus Cincinnati. Jacksonville's making their first Monday Night Football appearance since the 2010s. Yeah, give me Jacksonville.
Yeah, give me Jacksonville.
I'd love for the Bengals to win this, but I think the Jags are going to win.
And with that, Noam has to head off to do his thing. We're going to sign off for the day, you guys. Remember, the Beer Batter Sports Podcast is a proud affiliate of the Fired Up Sports Network. Go follow all their other shows. By the way, shout out to Bell Smashers Podcast with our former co-host Kylie, who kicked off their second season yesterday. You can follow us on all of our socials at bbsports_pod and check out our Twitter bio for merch. Just letting you guys know now. Hey, holiday season's coming up. It would be an awesome gift to get any family member who's a fan of the show one of our custom hoodies or sweatshirts. With that being said, we will see you guys next week. Y'all take it easy.